I'm going to talk about the Electoral College versus the popular vote. The Electoral College was necessary at the foundation of this country because people were not literate. They didn't have mass media. They didn't know what was going on with the government. They were far from polling places. It was expensive to vote. And for a long list of reasons, it wasn't practical for people to vote. So they set up the Electoral College, which was people who they were representatives who voted on behalf of their constituents. So the system worked out really well, and I still believe that it works out well. The problem with the popular vote is that what will happen is the large urban areas like LA, New York, Miami, Chicago, the 5 largest cities, are going to determine who the president is. And the absolute rest of the country will never impact any election. They will all be excluded. So unless you live in Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, or Miami, if it switches to the popular vote, your vote will never count again. Candidates will not campaign in a state that doesn't have a lot of voters. They will not go to a city that doesn't have a lot of voters. They're going to go where they have a lot of reach. And it's well known that when you switch to the popular vote, candidates would prefer to advertise through mass media like television to a market. So I don't believe that the popular vote is a good idea. I think it would be a complete disaster. With the current system, it's not perfect. There's a lot of weird things going on with it, but at least every state has a chance to make a difference. And the candidates show interests in every state, even though they might spend more time in one or another, etc. But at least everybody has participation. That's going to completely disappear with the popular vote. And the popular vote is not going to be just the big cities making the decision. It's going to be the urban areas. The urban areas are going to end up dominating. Do you really want LA and New York, and I'm from New York, do you want the big cities deciding who runs the country for everybody? Do you want them deciding the policies that will affect the farmers, people living in the suburbs, people living in small cities? Do you want them to make the decisions every year for the rest of your life? If you do, then you go with the popular vote. If you don't, you stick with the Electoral College.